All right, today is Monday, October 30th. We are going to talk through some geopolitics, some trades that we are looking at, and some trade reflections from this weekend since we've had a couple. First thing we're looking at, before the close on Friday, we actually saw gold take off from the 1900s to breaking $2,000 per ounce. We actually saw it get really close to $2,020 in terms of the gold futures. That's slash GC if you are trading commodities. So all of the uncertainty in the Middle East, people are still fleeting into gold as a safe haven, and we are now starting to see a lot of money managers and hedge funds get into gold at very high prices here. So just something to be aware of as we start to see gold tick higher and higher. This is not a trade we're active in right now, which we'll talk about, but just very interesting to see gold break back above $2,000 an ounce when it was back down to 1830 all the way in the beginning of October. So huge climb in terms of the price of gold, and we've seen similar for silver as well, which is also a safe haven metal, but has an industrial component, so not as drastic of a jump as gold as we're seeing. Other thing I want us to take a look at is oil today. Oil fell more than 3% with concerns about the Middle East supply easing. There is still a very large bull case for the oil markets that we're going to talk through in a moment here, but oil down almost 4% at one point today. And then this, if we jump over for a second, what we're looking at here, oil prices could reach uncharted waters if this war escalates and becomes more of a global crisis, which we're now seeing from some of the world banks raising this as a concern. So let's jump over to the charts, take a look at some trades that we're looking at right now. So trades that I'm liking right now or I'm considering, one is a short from platinum. We saw platinum range up over 4% today. It's nearing a current key support level of around 940 to 950. So I am thinking we may see, and if we open this chart here, we're looking at resistance at 936 that's been broken. We are looking at 945, and then 950 is some key resistance here. So we are going to try to get a short in and see if we can get a little bit of a pullback. Platinum doesn't usually rise this significantly in one given day, so I do think we're going to have a bit of a pullback here before we do run up or retest these previous highs. So we're going to see if we can get a short in. We're not currently in on the position yet, but if it goes a little bit higher, we will be. Other trades we're looking at, we will consider a gold entry at some point, just one, if we're feeling a little bit risky. Again, it's at a really high price right now, and it can be hard to justify getting in at these high prices, but it does have a lot more room to run up. 2020 is the next resistance level, so if we can see any bit of a pullback, I would like to be in more at like 1960 to 1985. That would be a better potential entry here, but we'll take a look and we'll see if we decide to enter there. Gold is trading a little bit up since the close on Friday. Everything that happened as far as it breaking $2,000 happened after the close. So that's why we see that gold's trading up $6 today, even though it's only at 2005. All of that happened after the close. And we're seeing the dollar index actually trading lower by 0.4%. So gold is actually trading lower if we factor in the price of the US dollar declining. Platinum, like we talked about, massive gains today. Palladium had very similar gains, and then it actually retraced back down. If we pull the chart up here, we saw a lot of volatility here with a jump all the way near 1170, then back down to about 1130. So we're kind of bouncing around here. I'm looking at a potential entry around 1110. That definitely has some key support around $1,100 at the lowest end. Copper, also a lot of volatility today. We were up over 3.7, and then we also retraced back down. We were at 371, and we retraced back down to 365. So we're looking at a potential entry. We've moved it up to 3.58. The S&P is up a little over 1% today. We've got some more key earnings that are on the docket today. We can take a look at those in a second here. Let me pull up the chart. So this is the earnings we're looking at or some of the key earnings we're looking at for this week. So for today, we've got Sophie, we've got McDonald's, HSBC, we've got some large earnings that are going on Tuesday. Actually, very interesting in terms of some biotechs with Pfizer, Amgen. We've got oil, BP, JetBlue. Airlines been struggling. Caterpillar. So a lot of key earnings coming up this week that we'll take a look at and see how that impacts the S&P, which is currently again trading a little bit higher. But I do think we are officially in a bear market or moving towards a bear market. We have bounced a little bit off of a low here. I anticipate this is maybe going to run up a little further before a further decline. So we'll consider a potential entry there. The other thing or the other position we're looking at is oil, like we talked about. So WTI light sweet crude currently trading at 82.49. We're in on two positions as of right now. We have made two entries this morning. We'll talk about a trade that we get out of in a moment here. And natural gas pulling back down off of the recent explosion up to the upside here over 3.6, back down to 3.34. So in terms of trade reflections, we actually got out of this trade on Friday before the close. We switched over to a trailing stop and we're stopped out around $85.20. So we took about $2,200 of profit on this oil trade here, which ended up being the right decision because oil has only traded lower since the start of today. I was worried a little bit of a potential gap up as we've seen, more of an escalation into the Middle East and everything going on. We've see if we can pull that up. So this is what occurred on or over the weekend here, and I was really, really bullish on oil going up here, given the fact that Israel's starting to push further into Gaza, and they've claimed it's the second stage of the war that they're going into. We had seen oil really shoot up and break almost $86 per barrel for WTI light sweet crude. And that's when we switched to a trailing stop to lock in some profits. And then it actually retraced back down. And despite all of this, we have seen the markets trade and sell off here, like we were talking about earlier, but still very much a bull case that we're going to look at and we're going to stay close to since we're in on two positions here, averaging around the current price. So we're in at about 82.7 for WTI light sweet crude /CL here is the ticker. So we're going to keep eyeing how these things play out. We saw silver also explode a little bit to the upside, but it's not really able to break out past the previous set of resistance that's been established around 24 or a little bit under at 23.8. So we're going to see if we can get in on this platinum short. And then the two long positions, we're going to see how those play out over the next couple days and see how this conflict continues to potentially escalate. So we'll be back tomorrow with another market update, and we'll talk soon.